Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today is going to be a really good day for the miners and for CORZ, Core Scientific, with the possibility of CoreWeave buying them out. We're going to talk about that. That's obviously what got the market going today. Miners did really well today, except for maybe one there. We'll take a look at the numbers there. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, what obviously was happening with Bitcoin. We have also news from Digital, major changes happening to them as well. We're going to talk about it. There's quite a few things happening with them. We'll also talk about Hive. They provided their fiscal year-end numbers as well. We'll take a look at those at the end, and we'll get into Q&A. So it should be pretty fun here. But man, what a nice day today was. If you own CORZ, man, congratulations there. And let's get into it here. But first, not financial advice, as always, for him only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened here with Bitcoin really quick and what's happening with the miners as well. So here's what we got. We got Bitcoin kind of being down a little bit today on Thursday. And let's see here. We were down just a little bit, 0.35%. We closed at 107,029. We're up just a little bit here on the new day, up 0.26 at 107,312. So we've kind of stalled out here a little bit. We'll see where we go from here. There's still a bunch of buying, buying happening across the board for Bitcoin. It's just we need the price to kind of catch up with it eventually. I think it will. I think eventually we will start spiking back up higher on that one. But the big news obviously today was the miners. The markets were up today as well, but miners we're up nicely today for the most part, except for a couple. We saw Bitfarms being down 0.71%. I think that's just Riot selling more shares, possibly into a little bit of a strength there. So we have that happening for Bitfarms there. BitDeer was up 4.38%. If you didn't catch it, I was with the BTC, the Bitcoin stock mining guy, on Spaces today with a short report. Person that provided that to us, we talked about the short report there on that, and that is posted on the Bitcoin mining stock guys profile there, but you'd be able to find that's like an hour and a half long, I think it is. Pretty interesting discussion there on BitDeer. Cypher was up nicely today, 8.83% on the day, right? This is as we saw the news for CoreWeave wanting to possibly buy out Core Scientific. That as a result of that, obviously Cypher has a lot of megawatts as well that are a potential buyout option for somebody potentially. Right, so that's why that one was going up. Cleanspark was up just a little bit today, up 1.98%. All things considering that it was actually down in the morning hours and came back up was nice. So we actually stayed above the 200 SMA here, which is nice on that one. And that one has been doing pretty good here over the last 3 days at least. CORZ, obviously, it was up huge today, 33%. At one point, I think it was up 35%. It is up in the new hours, or after hours. It's up 5.75%, so 5.75% up to $17.30 after hours on that one. And then we have also Hive being up just a little bit, up 0.56%. Hot 8 was up 7% today. IREN was up nicely today. This thing has been on a nice rocket ship. Love seeing that. And my profits are definitely skyrocketing here with that one as well. Love seeing that. It's up also a little bit here in the after hours right now. It is up approximately 3.6%, 3.7%, starting, up nonetheless. It's up to $13.57, which is nice. Going back here to the rest of the list, Mara was up a little bit, 1.94%. Riot was up 5.1% on the day, and then Wolf was up 15.53%. Surprisingly, let's see where it's at right now after hours. I was a little surprised that one was running so hard today on it. Let's see where it's at right now after hours. So it's down a little bit on the after hours, 0.5% down more or less. I know, not too bad. All right, so the miners did really, really good today. We've had really good runs on these guys here recently, at least, with Bitcoin coming back up to 107,000, 108,000. So I think that's going to continue. We're going to get into the conversation here on Core and CoreWeave as well here in a second. MicroStrategy was down a little bit, 0.5%. Galaxy was up 5%. Galaxy, I think, was maybe up on the news for CoreWeave buying possibly Core Scientific. If you recall, Galaxy has a contract with CoreWeave for all the megawatts pretty much at the Helios facility there. So that one might be also, as a possibility of a buyout there. That's why that one went up 5% today, I think also. Coin was up another 5% up today. This thing has been doing really, really well. And then we got quite a few that were down in the red. Small miners, Annie was up 11% today. I'm not sure exactly why. I don't see anything happening there on that one. Digital was down 15.32% today. I think this is based on the news that's been coming out here and the changes that they're making here. So things are getting kind of re-rated there maybe a little bit. On that one, let's see here. Digi Power was up 8.37% today. That one's coming back up a little bit. Mawson was up 5.2%. Canon was down a little bit here. And then the ETF for the miners were up nicely today. BitQ being up 4.68%, BKCH being up 6.24%, DAP being up 4.19%, and WGMI beating them all, being up 10.37%. Obviously, WGMI has quite a bit of IREN in there, along with CORZ. So that's the reason why that one was going up today quite nicely. All right. So that's it for the miners here really quick. Looking at the numbers that we have here. Bitcoin here right now for June, we're up 2.2% as it is. So that we'll see where we end up. We got basically 4 days left of trading here for Bitcoin for the month of June. We'll see where we end up at. Hopefully we stay in the green at least a little bit more. Bitcoin ETF inflows here continue to accumulate a lot. So we've seen BlackRock here on June 24th by 436 million. On yesterday, 340 million, right? We were having 588 million, $500 million inflows into Bitcoin, yet Bitcoin price is kind of stagnant here over the last couple of days. So what gives? I think we're seeing more and more probably coins getting off the exchanges, off OTCs. It's just eventually we're going to get to a point where there's not going to be a lot left, and the price is going to be going back up because you're going to have probably less people are going to be selling at that point, possibly. So we'll see. So this is good news there. All right. So let's talk about this exclusive here from the Wall Street Journal. I believe this was from. CoreWeave is in talks to buy Core Scientific. We don't have a lot of details on it. This is all still early stages as far as where we are right now in this whole process. They do state down here that we're still probably several weeks out potentially, but CoreWeave is in talks to acquire Core Scientific, according to people familiar with the matter. The transaction could be finalized in the coming weeks. I think it would be in the best interest not only of CoreWeave, but also Core Scientific to get this done probably by like Monday, if possible. As long as the talks don't hit any snags, the people said, so any snags, probably just price, right? What's the price that they're going to pay for it? The exact terms being discussed couldn't be learned, so nobody was able to provide that. Obviously, CoreWeave tried to buy Core Scientific out last year when they offered them about $1 billion, right after signing a contract with them for, I think it was 200 megawatts originally for HPCI data center there. So that, I mean, that was definitely a low ball offer back then. And with CoreWeave having signed so many more contracts with CoreWeave, not only with them, but also with Galaxy, Applied Digital as well, I believe, they need to do something about their asset light mentality. And I think this is part of their action plan here going forward, is to buy up some of these sites potentially, right? You have more control over those sites at that point, and asset light doesn't always work out great. You're paying more and everything else, so they could actually probably save several $1 billion by purchasing CoreWeave or Core Scientific out directly. Over the next 12 years, they're going to save several $1 billion potentially in that regard. So it makes sense for them to do that. They have obviously more control over everything else. It is just that's a much better way to do things, right? Being asset light does not work. We've seen that with Mara in the past. Mara was asset light in the past, and then in the last, I would say, 18 months or so, 24 months, they have started buying up infrastructure, having more control over it, I guess you could say. So where could they possibly be priced at? I put out a poll for you guys in the chat there. A lot of you guys think somewhere between $20 to $25 per share would be a fair value there. About 57% of you are stating that right now. And the rest are getting, let's see what the results are. 25% are saying $15 to $20, and 18% are saying $25 to $30 right now as it is. So that's kind of where I'm thinking also. Somewhere between $20 to $25 I think would be a fair value for what Core has and what CoreWeave wants to get there. So let's take a look at the numbers that I have for Core Scientific right now as it is. Right, we're still going off the numbers from the end of Q1 for them, which is 363 million shares. Stock price right now is at $16.36. It's actually at $17 something in overnight hours, but that gives them about $6 billion market cap here. We know that the deal that they have with CoreWeave is like around $14 billion over the next 12 years or so. So if you take that, divide that, let's just make it easy. Just say $12 billion over the next 12 years. So you're looking at approximately $1 billion a year. Take out costs and everything else. You're looking at somewhere around, $600 million in revenue. 600 times 10, that's $6 billion plus some premium on top of that. I think it should go probably for $7-8 billion, something like that, I think would be possibly a fair value there. Maybe even 10 billion, somewhere around there, depending what they agree on. But it is definitely going to be much nicer from where we are right now. Given where we are right now, based on the revenues that we've had in May, right, multiplying that times 12, plus some HPCI business in there as well, slowly getting added into it from CoreWeave, I'm between 1096 and 1645. They're already at 1636. I think they're very well priced right now. And, you know, with getting closer to having more and more revenue from CoreWeave, that should go up on them. But the analysts are saying $23 for the high, $18.09 for the average, $15 for the low. And that would kind of put us right where in that sweet spot between $20 and $25, like some of you guys are saying here. I think that would be fair, right? At 23, let's just say $23 is kind of in the middle between those two. If we go $23 times the approximately, if we go up times the 363 million shares roughly, what are we getting at? We're getting at about 8.5 billion roughly. And I think that would be pretty fair. Pretty fair deal right now as it is. Definitely give CoreWeave a lot more control, like I said. And the good thing about this is this now reprices the other miners. So we're seeing that obviously happening in IREN. We're seeing it happening a little bit in Cypher as well. We saw it today with TeraWolf also. But going forward, I mean, those are the main guys that have HPCI potential, right? IREN, Cypher, Wolf there. Who else could possibly be in there? I think those would be probably the main guys here right now that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm looking at the sheet here. Bitdeer's not going to be a buyout target. They got sites all over the place here. It's probably going to be the ones that are more likely concentrated more in the United States here, I think. Bitdeer could sell some of their sites they have in the United States. That is a possibility there. Hut 8 is another one in there, right? They have quite a few megawatts under management and access to as well. But that would, and Riot. Oh, sorry, I forgot Riot. So you got possibly Bitdeer, Cypher, Hut 8, IREN, and Riot as well as kind of the ones that might get repriced a little bit more here as time progresses going forward. That's going to bode well for us. It's going to bode well for you guys as well, right? So if you guys are in any of these guys here that have HPCI ambitions or potential, they're going to get repriced here based on wherever this deal comes in at for Core Scientific with CoreWeave. And then it also might open up the pocketbooks of some of the hyperscalers, Oracle, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Amazon as well, because they're seeing that they're going to have probably some good competition here from CoreWeave going forward, and you know they're moving forward to get as much megawatts as they can. So we'll see if something changes there, and if we get any kind of deals happening from those guys as well. And if they do, well, I'm sure the miners will benefit from it as well. So this is all good. This is all going to be, repriced in the next days, weeks, maybe even a month or so. We're going to see repricing on these guys here. So hopefully you guys are in the right horses, and I wish you guys all the best on it. I love it. I'm excited about it. My dad is excited about it as well. He's still holding on to it. We were talking about it obviously today when it happened. We're discussing whether to sell right now or to hold on. We're like, well, we don't know what the price is going to be. So we're both like, okay, let's just hold off for right now. And, we think we can get probably a better deal towards the end of it once it's announced here, hopefully, right? You live once, and if you don't take some chances, sometimes you don't make the big bucks because of it. So he's definitely taking a chance there a little bit, but I think it's a good chance that things will go up higher in Core Scientific stock price. So, yeah, doing good. Things are looking really, really good here. Really, I'm happy. All right, let's get back into the news here on this stuff. We'll get into your guys' questions on any of this stuff here in a second. All right, let's get into BitDigital, because BitDigital has a lot of stuff happening here. They announced quite a few things in the last couple of days here. Here's the first one. So BitDigital Inc. announces confidential submission of draft registration statement for proposed initial public offering of White Fiber Inc. White Fiber is their data center part of the business, right? So there's that. We also have here, BitDigital Inc. announces strategic shift to Ethereum treasury and staking operations. Okay, that's interesting there. And then this here, BitDigital Inc. announces pricing of public offering of its ordinary shares. So they're going to be selling diluting basically to get money to buy more Ethereum as well. So let's start with the White Fiber first here. So they came out, this was on June 25th, that the press release is being made pursuant to in accordance with Rule 135 under the Securities Act of 1993. They are basically going to be, what's the word I'm looking there? They're going to make White Fiber a separate public company, right, with its own ticker symbol, everything else. They're going to be probably the majority owner of it there, but it's going to be separate. So they're going to have separate reporting for White Fiber and for BitDigital, and BitDigital is transitioning into a Ethereum treasury and staking company there. Okay, so that's kind of interesting there. We've known about this for a while. Their CEO has been talking about that they might possibly split the businesses up because they're not being really valued well based on having Ethereum HODL, having Bitcoin mining, and data centers, right? The analysts don't know how to, I guess, really price them, maybe. So we've known about this, that they were thinking about this for quite a while, going back to probably last year even. And this is just them playing that out right now, right? The stock, I mean, let's take a look at how the stock has performed here really quick. BitDigital is at $1.99, right? So it's, I mean, right now it was at $2 and something, and it's definitely way, way lower from where it was just last year in November, where it was at $5.74, and it hasn't really done too great. I mean, at least it has bounced back up from where it was at the low of $1.60 here. It was up about 60% here, but it's been coming down as a result here. So could this help out BitDigital? Possibly. Let's tackle first this white fiber part of it, and then we'll get into the treasury and the getting rid of the Bitcoin mining side of things. So this white fiber, I think, is a good move. Get this away from the company here, and so that way it's alone by itself. It's easier to analyze this basically as just a data center play here, right? And then it gets it out of their spreadsheets, out of their financials, everything else, makes it a standalone business that can also go after equity, financing, different ways and things like that. Makes it a little bit easier instead of having all these things tied in together. So based on just white fiber being alone, I think this is a good move. This should help them out and possibly help them grow as well. Okay, so that's kind of that part of it. It's kind of interesting nonetheless. Next is the strategic shift to Ethereum treasury and staking operations. Okay, so in here they state that as of March 31st, the company held 24,434 Ethereum and 417 BTC, valued at approximately 44.6 million and 34.5 million, respectively. As of that date, BitDigital intends to convert its BTC holdings into ETH over time. My only question is why? Why don't I would rather see them go into a Bitcoin treasury company than a Ethereum treasury company. As we have seen here recently in the last couple years, Bitcoin dominance is only growing, while the altcoins, including Ethereum, Solana, and others as well, has been coming down here. They haven't performed nowhere near as well as Bitcoin has. So I'm a little surprised that they are going to be going towards this route. I know that the CEO there has high conviction in Ethereum going forward, and maybe he's right. Maybe it'll play out that way. But right now, based on what I've seen at least in the last 12 to 18 to 24 months, is high. Ethereum is not performing as well as it has in the past, nor against Bitcoin here. So I would rather have them go towards Bitcoin here. And then also in connection with this transition, the company has commenced a strategic alternatives process for its Bitcoin mining operations that is expected to result in their sale or wind down, with any net proceeds to be redeployed into Ethereum here again. So they're selling off their Bitcoin mining side of the business and going full bore into Ethereum's treasury, holding, staking business, and getting rid of the Bitcoin mining side of things. That I understand. Bitcoin mining side was always kind of, it was their main play in the beginning, but they weren't able to keep up with the growth that we saw from other miners as well. They've stayed around, like, I think around 2 exahash, something like that at the peak there, and they've never been able to fully grow. They've also been asset light on that portion as well. They've been using a lot of hosting providers for it. That also costs a little bit more money there. So this probably makes sense to get rid of that, and then they probably, like I said, I would have liked to have seen them go into more Bitcoin instead of Ethereum, but we'll see on that one. And then concentrating just on Bitcoin treasury, but they're going to be doing Ethereum treasury. I would have liked to see the Bitcoin side of things more. They're going to concentrate on that, and they're going to concentrate on the other business, which is going to be white fiber by itself as well. So this makes sense to me. I understand why they're doing it. I don't really like the Ethereum strategy part of it. I would have liked Bitcoin more, but it is what it is. We'll see. Maybe they are right. Maybe Ethereum does do well going forward here in the next, couple of years. And maybe with them being one of the one of the few, if not one of the only ones that are doing Ethereum. Maybe they get some love from the Ethereum crowd for it. Maybe. I don't know. But that's definitely interesting there. Okay. And then here, another one here, BitDigital announces pricing of public offerings. So they're going to be selling shares there. The company is going to be selling 75 million ordinary shares at a public offering price of $2 per share. The aggregate gross proceeds of the company from the offering before deducting the underwriting discount and other offering expenses payable by the company will be about 115 million. The company intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to purchase more Ethereum. Again, it is what it is. We'll see how it works out. Maybe it does work out really well for them. But a lot of changes there happening. It's going to be a totally different company than what we have seen in the past. And it might be for the good. I think it might be for the good, actually. So right now the stock is not liking it, or at least retail or whoever is not liking it, because the stock was down 15% today. And I can see why. Maybe from, like I said, from my perspective, I would have liked to have seen them go into Bitcoin. They're going into Ethereum. Maybe that's why they're selling their Bitcoin. You know, somebody does not, obviously some people don't like it. And I can understand why as well. And we'll see if that plunge in the stock price is all that we're going to see here. We might see a little bit more tomorrow. We'll see where it comes in at. And I wish them all the best. Well, you know, keep an eye on them, see what they're doing going forward here and how the stock is doing as well. But a lot of changes, man. It's kind of weird to see where we have been just a year ago and where we are right now with some of these companies. Not only a lot of these companies were Bitcoin miner maxis, and then the HBCI thing came around, and everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people started transitioning into that more so, and then it just snowballed from there. And now we only have really two companies that are large that I cover at least, Cleanspark and Mara, that are more or less pure play Bitcoin miners by themselves. Everybody else is trying to get something for HBCI. Now, the interesting part will be in the next, say, year or so, right? Do the economics change where Bitcoin mining is a better business than HBCI business? That will be interesting to see if that plays out, right? Bitcoin's at 200,000, 250,000, whatever it might be. Is that revenue there better than what they are getting for the HPC? And I think it might be, because I think right now you need Bitcoin to be about maybe 110, 120,000 in order for it to be on par with what you're getting for HPCI per like megawatt, or however well you want to convert it over into things. All right, so that's it on that. So let's get into Hive here really quick. Hive announced their fiscal year-end numbers here. We'll just go into some of the details here right now. This obviously is for the quarter ended in March, which was their end of year. So total revenue was 115.3 million. This includes obviously Bitcoin mining and HPC performance or HPC computing. Digital currency mining revenue was 105, down 5.2% year over year, mainly due to the April 2024 Bitcoin halving and increased hash rate difficulty, mostly offset by 40% higher digital currency mining hash rate from 4.5 exahash at the end of 2024 to 6.3 exahash at the end of March 2025. And higher Bitcoin prices. So yeah, I mean, they weren't down too much. And then HPCI cloud revenue was up to 10.1 million here, representing approximately 3x growth year over year, which is nice to see. And then gross operating margin was 25.1 million and gross operating margin or 21.8%. And then net income gap net loss of 3 million for the year. Adjusted EBITDA was 56.2 million and adjusted EBITDA or 48.7 of total revenue. So pretty good there also. See, they talk about how much Bitcoin they had at the end of the quarter, but we don't know what the number is right now for them as it is. All right. Let's see, I copied all the data in from their quarterly results or fiscal year-end results here and put it into my sheet here. So let's get into that, and then we'll get into your guys' questions here as well. All right, so right now, shares obviously increased. We saw some dilution happening here over the last quarter from where we were. So we're at 165 million shares right now. Market cap is about 296 million. Stock price is $1.79. The performance of the last 12 weeks has not been bad, but it hasn't been great either. I mean, they're down 10% from last week. From 4 weeks, they're down 5.6%. From 8 weeks, they're down 5%. But from 12 weeks ago, they're up 21%. So it's kind of mixed here a little bit on that. Right, we won't get into the numbers here for production and things like that. We talk about that every month. We'll get into the quarterly results here. So revenues here. Revenues have been increasing, which is, I love seeing that. That always helps. And then the current quarter revenue, we're going to be about 40 million here. But for Q4, they came in at about 31.16 million, roughly. And then last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation have come up a little bit here, 28.4 million from 27.26, so about 1.2 million increase. I can understand that. That's mainly because their hash rate has grown as well. So you're going to pay a little bit more here. Cost to mine one Bitcoin minus depreciation came in at approximately 77,000 per Bitcoin there. That is high, and that's because they're operating at that point at like 6 exahash, right? They're haven't gotten to scale and efficiency to scale and everything else. That will be happening in the next, in this quarter that we're in right now. That should be going down. I would think it would be going down, so I want to see that come down. And then obviously going forward, as they get to 25 exahash by the end of the year, we should see that number come down. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Bitcoin mined here has been coming down, right? So what does that mean? That means that their hash rate that they have has not been keeping up with the network hash rate. So they've been slow to build out, but obviously that's changing here in this current quarter, next quarter, the following quarter as well. That's changing. They're getting to 25 exahash, so that should improve. Debt to equity, lower is obviously always better here. 0.18, still really good. Current ratio, higher is better. They're at 3.71. I don't have an issue with that. So they get plenty of cash to cover current costs and things like that. Current liabilities. So total current assets here at 245 million. Total current liabilities 65 million. Went up a little bit here. Not that bad. Still really, really healthy balance sheet there on them. Coming down here, we'll take a look at the numbers here. So 165 million shares now. We had a 6.57% increase in the number of shares year over year. That's a 56% increase in the number of shares there for them. You can see that there. They were at, let's see, when they reported Q1, they were at 117 million. On that, now they're 165, 56% growth there. All right, current assets, we talked about that a little bit, 245 million there with everything. Cash still looks pretty good, 23 million compared to the 9 million they had the prior quarter. Amounts receivable is up to 15 from 8.9, not too bad. Investments down a little bit to 24 from 30. And then in digital currency was at 181 million here from 260. Obviously, they sold some as well to buy out the site from Bitfarms, I believe that was used for that. And miners probably as well. All right, property and equipment, that went up nicely here, 202 million from 109 million. Long-term receivables went up a little bit to 3 million. Deposits, 74 million, that's on mining equipment, things like that. Rights of use went down a little bit to 5.5 million. Total assets increased to 531 million from 478, so that's nice to see. Current liabilities increased to 65.9, like we talked about, from 29. Big jump was, now was the acquisition loan payable, 31 million. I think that was for the Yaguza site that they bought from Bitfarms there. Total current liabilities went up to 82 from 44. Big change in that was, 31 million there, I believe. And then going down here, total stockholder equity and shareholder equity was at 531 million. So about roughly 55 million, roughly, or so, 53 million or so increase in that, so that's good. Revenues, like I said, have increased, so that's good to see. Self-mining was 28.148 million. That was off by 0.99% on that number, so they came in a little bit higher than I had them at. High-performance computing was up also to 3 million here. I really like seeing that has been increasing here, at least the last 2 quarters here. We were down in Q2 from Q1, but that's improving here again, so that's good. What else do we have here? Operating and maintenance costs was up a little bit to 23.18, so that's not too bad from 22. High performance computing, as they're generating more revenue, they're obviously going to have some more costs there as well. So 1.4 from 4, about 1 million increase in that. Depreciation looks like it's down a little bit to 15.7 from 18.7, so that's not too bad. And then they had a revaluation of digital currencies of, looks like 33 million or so on that one. They sold some assets for 764,000. And then expenses here, general administration was up to 5.2 from 4.5. Small increase there, so it's not too bad overall. Share-based compensation was a little bit higher, 4.6 from 3.5, about 1 million there, and that has been going up here. Don't like seeing that going up. I think it's their headcount is increasing, so they're having more shares being given out. What else do we have here? I think that is the gist of it. Net income for the quarter possibly was about 4.7 million here, if my numbers are correct here, based on fiscal year-end numbers and subtracting it from the prior 3 quarters. On that, they look like they might be positive there, possibly, I don't know. But they came in at negative 2 cents here on the year. Didn't see what they reported for the quarter here on that, and that's kind of where we are at. All right, going over here. General administrative compensation was 9.89 million. That's 31% of the revenues here. That's definitely gone up. Don't like seeing that. I want to see that coming down here. And hopefully as they get more hash rate installed and everything else towards the end of the year, that income that's going to be coming in there will reduce this high percentage of general administrative to the revenue. Definitely want to see that come down here. What else do we have here? Cost of mining 1 Bitcoin, like we talked about, was 77,000 here. That's based on 290 Bitcoin mined in Q4, right? And what the yeah, that is taking that, dividing that by the operating and maintenance cost, basically. So that's kind of what we're getting there. Talked about debt to equity, current ratio, book to value is 449. Price to book ratio 0.6, so that's under. Enterprise value 290. EBITDA is 29.69 million here. EV to beta is 9.7 roughly. So are they undervalued? Yeah, they're extremely undervalued, I think, right now. They're at $1.79. I have them based on May production numbers and revenues times 12 months between 783 and 1174. Analysts even have them higher than that. Well, they have them at $11 for the high, average 681, $4 for the low. They're at $1.79. Excuse me. They are way undervalued as it is right now. Will they catch any love from investors? Maybe in some time. I think investors maybe just want to see some more growth happening here going forward, and hash rate and revenues and things coming down as far as some of these metrics as well. All right, well, that's it. That's not bad. Like I said before, they got to grow, and they're doing that right now as it is. So love seeing that. But you guys let me know what you guys think of that one. All right, that is it. I'll have the spreadsheets available to all the Patreon members. Love all you guys there for the continued support. Those will be coming out tomorrow for you guys. And then if you guys want to help support the channel, I got some merch as well on YouTube and things like that. There's a link in the description for that. Helps me out, and you get at least something for it, right? You get spreadsheets and you get shirts or hoodies, whatever you want. All right, that is it. That is all I got. That's my sales pitch. I'm done with it. So let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today in the markets as much as I did. And let's get into it here right now. As always, questions. If you guys could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to scroll up here and work my way down. So be patient. I will get to all your guys' questions and things like that. Right, let's see here. Where are we at? All right, that was that. Okay. Real Rug says, woo, bigly day. Today was a great day. Eric Sullivan says that he sees Core as a 25 to 30 billion company. Offer would have to be at least 15 billion 3x from here. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen there. I mean, someone might see him as a 25 to 30 billion company, but they would need more sites, right? That's going to cost things as well. But it depends on the deal that they offer them, or what kind of offer is it, right? Is it 8 billion, 10 billion, or something like that? They have to take it up with shareholders, right? Do the shareholders vote for it? It's a nice payout, so we'll see. All right, Sauer says, so I'm still confused how this is making IREN run. IREN has 2 gigawatts plus potential, right? 2 gigawatts that we know of in Sweetwater. They also are building out, was it 50, 70 megawatts of HPCI at their current facility in Corsicana. So they have what hyperscalers and potentially what CoreWeave is also looking for: megawatts and access to power their data centers. So that's kind of why they're being repriced as well. And maybe they have a deal or something like that. Let's see. Bitchin82 says your survey needs greater than $30. It was 18 last November, and I expect at least 2x now. The revenue has started on CoreWeave stock is pumping. Yes, they were higher last time, but their share count was also lower. So you got to take that into consideration. Don't always look at the share price. Look at also where the market cap was at that time. So I would just leave it at that. All right. Daniel asks, is there a potential downside for CoreWeave buying CORZ? I don't see a potential. I mean, they're going to have sites that have obviously Bitcoin mining still, that they're going to have to do something with them, whether they sell those off, because I don't know if they're going to be, maybe they do want to be in Bitcoin mining as well. But that's the only thing that I could think would be downside potentially for them, especially as they want to be like a data center play, HPCI play. Yeah, Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. They're going to be saving on the money that they're going to be paying Core Scientific over the next 12 years to host. So they're going to save quite a bit of money there. I think it's all positive for them. It just depends on how much are they paying for it. So we'll see that. Okay. Let's see. Bitch92 says IREN has the power infrastructure that is now getting valued as a possible data center. Take over Target, Wolf, Hut, others will do the same. Yep, we're seeing that already. All right. So the value of CoreWeave is not just the infrastructure that is already contracted, but also gigawatts that are available. CoreWeave is looking for more. Yeah. Yep. But again, some of those sites may not be suitable for HPCI that CoreWeave has, but we'll see. Let's see. Nomadic Dentist. Has he talked about Bit Digital? Yes, I talked about Bit Digital. A lot of changes happening there with them. Pitt says Cleanspark $24 plus November. All right, I'll love to see that. Benny says someone needs to buy Bitfarms. Right now, I don't know if anybody wants to buy Bitfarms as it is. Right, they still have Riot on their backs. Riot is selling the shares there. I think eventually in time when Riot is completely out, maybe at that point it becomes a little bit more appealing to somebody to buy them out at this low price as it is right now. Geez, Corby says Bitfarms managed to be down today. Yeah, Riot's selling their shares. So that's the reason why it was down. Benny says here, Riot keeps selling it. Let's see. Express Yourself says Bit Digital sub $1 soon. Ethereum is a poop coin. I don't think it's a poop coin, but it has definitely been not performing as well as probably people have thought. The SF has a question here, but is 20 to 25 fair given that CoreWeave will also become a BTC treasury play and a NAV premium factored? Show me which miner is getting a NAV premium on being a HODL play here. You got Mara that has about $5 billion in HODL. They're valued at what? $6 billion right now, I think as it is. So they're not getting any premiums for it. Cleanspark has a lot also. They're not getting any premium for it. Riot has a lot. They're not getting a premium for it either. So the miners are not getting a premium on their HODL position as it is. It does help them out. I mean, they have optionality with it, but it's not really helping the stock out there. So I don't know if that would be a big factor for CoreWeave to start, adding to their HODL position there. Gary says, question, we are now halfway through 2025. I know you have mentioned several times you expect HODL pure play miners will outperform HPCI in 2025. Are you still thinking that will happen for year end? I'll play as in price appreciation in the stocks. I don't know if it's going to be in 2025, but we only really have now just two miners, Cleanspark and Mara, that are kind of more or less pure plays. Everybody else has kind of transitioned over into Bitcoin mining and HPCI as well. And with the deal, depending on what the deal is with CoreWeave and Core Scientific, what the price point is at that point, how much does it get repriced on the other guys here, right? And then also, we know that Riot is not growing that much anymore. We know IREN's going to be pausing at 50 exahash. Cleanspark's the only one's going to be growing here. Mara is still growing as well. Cypher is getting to 23 exahash by the end of the year, I believe. So you still have these guys kind of more or less in pause or limbo a little bit, and you got a couple of them that are still growing. And as Bitcoin goes up in value, and if these guys don't get any kind of deals, right, does that still possibly make the pure play miners do a little bit better? I don't know. I think it would, but we'll see. All right. It's the SF question. Is 20 to 25 fair given that CoreWeave will also become... Yeah, we talked about that one already. Okay. Would you buy Cypher? Cypher has potential there. We know quite a few people that are very bullish on Cypher as well. Cypher has, good sites, quite a bit of megawatts as well, and they are just now into that process where they're building out more of the Bitcoin mining side of things and growing that quite nicely, which was needed, long overdue. So I do like him in that regard, but I don't think I would buy it right now. I'd be buying more IREN and Cleanspark like I have been. All right. Hi, Seb. Did you vote against the reverse split of Bitfarms? I didn't get the email. I don't know whether it went to my spam or got blocked or whatnot. I didn't get the email, though. Or at least I didn't see it. I might have missed it, but I didn't see it. So I did not vote on that one. LG Lee. For CORZ acquisition, Cantor Fitzgerald suggested $30 plus Roth Capital opined up to $38. Okay, well, that would be a very, very nice premium there, considering where they were at. That's basically a 3x from where they were trading just earlier today, more or less. So that would be fantastic. My dad would be ecstatic, and I think at that point, he might be over $1 million in profit at that point. So, yeah, definitely would be a great day if that was the case. Let's see. Dice Market says, I'm rotating out of Cleanspark and into Cypher. Made 1,000 profit for 800 shares. Very nice. Let's see. Trade Rookie. Bitdeer is a good one. DCA into Bitdeer. I have my reservations on Bitdeer, but they have been doing pretty good here recently. They have been down a little bit coming back down from kind of a little bounce they had here. We'll see how they do going forward, but I think they have a lot more growth happening in the second half of this year and into next year as well, which should help out. Benny says, I'm holding Bitfarms, Clean, and Mara. I sold CORZ months ago and also IREN, and I regret it, and now LOL. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, right? That's the hard thing about timing these things. You just never know. Marcus asks, what do you think about Bitfarms? Bitfarms is, changing their direction that we've seen them start since basically end of last year. They're going more towards the United States based. They're going more for as well for HPC AI potential. We'll see how it works out for them. I wish them all the best. I still own quite a bit of shares there, so I'm rooting for them to do well. And if they fall down to like 50 cents or less, I may actually pick some up at that point. It's got to bounce after that. All right. Let's see. Dynamite Uber says, days like this make me glad I have WGMI because there's no way I would invest in CORZ over IREN and laughing my butt off. I own WGMI as well in my retirement account. That thing is doing great. Love seeing that. It's going to be a nice retirement when I do retire. The Bitfarms managed to kick the monkey Riot off their back. They're trying. Riot is still selling there. Riot still has a lot of shares they need to sell. It's going to be a while before that's all done with. All right. As Romney's got a question, what companies do you think are worth holding through the crypto winter? Just IREN? What crypto winter? When? I don't think we're going to have a crypto winter. I think we're done for with these crypto winters, these cycles. To be honest, I think Bitcoin may correct 30%. Miners might do worse than that, but I don't see a huge winter coming up here. I think IREN, I was going to say CORZ is going to probably be a good one to hold on to because of the revenue they're going to be getting from CoreWeave. But if they get bought out, okay, then you might want to get into maybe CoreWeave or something like that, or some of the other players in that field. As far as the miners are concerned, if the miners do like they did just this past winter, from January to April, Bitcoin went down 30% and the miners went down 60, 70, 80%. I don't know if you want to hold on to those guys forever. You may want to play the highs and lows on these guys and buy low, sell high. If you can, time it closely. But I don't know if you want to hold on to them. Unless things really change and Bitcoin only goes down going forward, 10%, 15%, the miners go down, 20, 30%. Dad's Market Stats got a question here. Who are your top 3 miner madness 4.0? Mine are Cypher, Bitfarms, Cleanspark. I haven't even really picked mine yet, but if I was going to pick them, I'd go with probably IREN, Cleanspark, or Cleanspark, IREN, whichever one. And then I would have historically picked Bitfarms. Maybe Bitfarms will surprise us, because that thing has been beaten down, so maybe I would go with those 3 still. Marcus says Riot still owns a lot of shares. Yes, they do. I think they're at, last time they reported, they were at 13.4% of the shares there still are owned by them. Let's see, TradeWiki says WGMI goes up slow and steady, it also falls fast and hard, like some of the rest of the guys here, but it's coming back up here, so that's nice to see. All right, that's Romney. Because the question, what companies, in your opinion, are worth holding? Okay, we talked about that one. Okay, if you guys be patient. I will get to all your guys' questions. You have to put them in there twice. Let's see. TradeWiki says, I never understood why Riot was so adamant in acquiring Bitfarms. They wanted the size, I think, the growth there initially, right? Going back last year, they were more of they were a pure Bitcoin miner. And then as time changed and they got some activist investors in there as well, their minds have kind of changed since then. So I think that was the reason for it. They just saw a possibility of where the stock was low and they thought they maybe could pounce on it. and get some sites there as well and build out that way, possibly. And they would also get possibly Ben Gagnon at the time before he was CEO. So there's some things there. See, Marcus says, Bitfarms has a lot of potential, but have been going through CEO changeover too much. Yeah, they need to let this new CEO, Ben, do his thing for a while, right? Instead of having a new CEO every 2-3 years or something like that. Okay, Trade Rookie asks, I wonder how many of these miners will be around in 8 years, even 4 years. I think the majority of the big guys will be around. It's the smaller ones that I would be more questioning on those. But the big guys, they got plenty of cash, plenty of Bitcoin, they got plenty of megawatts, so I don't think they're going anywhere. And as long as Bitcoin continues to go up, they're going to do just fine. Sorry, guys, I had to get a sip of water here. All right, my throat's getting dry. G's Corby has a question here. Since Bitfarms is not getting new miners and HPC data centers take years to build out, plus they have no experience doing it, is there a reason to hold while they dilute to fund transition? They hired some, I think, pretty good people for the HPCI play. Yes, it's going to take a while for them to test it out, build it out, and get the funding for it as well. So, I mean, you have to look at it as opportunity cost, right? What's the opportunity cost for holding it against selling it and buying into something else? There might be a better way to do it. It also depends on how much you have money into it. If you have a lot, well, maybe the money can be put someplace else that might be better. But if you don't have a lot and just want to let it see where it rides, see where it rides. You know, it's definitely your choice there on that one. Right. Do you think Ben Gagnon will sell if Bitfarms is offered $40 per share? At $4 per share, that would get them to be roughly what? $2 billion, I think, right? What are they at right now? Let me see. As of today, Bitfarms is valued at, what are they valued at? 444. Yeah. So, I mean, we're looking at probably closer to 2.5 billion, something like that, potentially for them. So we shall see. All right, let's go back here to, where was it? There it was. Trade says, I have a good feeling for BitDeer. All right. Why is IREN doing very, very, very well? Well, they have the 2 gigawatts of power potential there in Clearwater 1 and 2 combined. So there might be something happening for that. And then also with CoreWeave trying to buy out Core Scientific for the megawatts, the thought process is that their value for the megawatts they have under their belt should be valued more. Right, so it's kind of, we're seeing a repricing of those miners that have megawatts. All right, BT's got a question. Will BTC on balance sheet eventually be similar to cash, so value will trend to 1x the value held? That I don't know. In time, maybe, but I don't think it's going to be anytime this cycle or next cycle. I think it might be further out. All right, Marcus, I only need to watch the beginning, but how did Hive post a negative EPS this year with BTC up right now? Slow growth this year. They had, in 2024, they had slow growth. They went from 4 point something exahash to 6 something exahash. They did not keep up with the network hash rate growth. They were mining less Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin price was going up. They were behind the ball there, so they needed to grow more, which is now what they're doing, which I love seeing that. Let's see. Trade Wiki says Wolf is another great one. So far moves up and down aggressively. Yes, it does. Don't know how much megawatts they have potential to get more. I think they have got more megawatts potential, and I think that's why it's moving up as well. Let's see. C-Rap 80 says we'd love to see more consolidation in the miners or in general. Let's see. SNH, I think the CORZ news confirms Ben's 20-30 multiple for HPCI data center and should increase Bitfarms valuation when time comes. Yeah, depending on what it gets sold at, right? So it'll be interesting to see when the next, excuse me, the next couple of days or weeks when we do finally find out how much did CoreWeave pay for CORZ on that one. Let's see, Meat Force, I'm up 25% on IREN and Cleanspark, but down 75% on Bitfarms. What's the strategy here? Cut losses on Bitfarms and go into CORZ. CORZ, well, we don't know where that sell price is, right? Is it going to be $20? Is it going to be $25 or $30? Where is that going to be? We don't know. So that's a tough one there. I'm kind kind of like you. I'm up a little bit more on Cleanspark. Cleanspark, I'm up like 80-90% right now. IREN's starting to catch up to him. I think it's like 70%, 68, 70%, something like that. I'm up on that one. And I'm down on Bitfarms like, what is it, 40%, I think it is, 40, 45%. My average is $1, 50%. My average is $1.40 something on that one. So that is your call. You're going to have to figure out what you want to do there, whether it's to sell it, to put it into something else. But CORZ, I would be a little skeptical right now as far as, where is that price going to be, where it's sold. Let's see, SH, if CORZ sells for $35 a share, which equals almost $10 billion the valuation, this should increase the valuation for the HPCI data center companies. It should, yeah. And we're seeing that happening today already, as it was. Let's see. All right, as is asking for suggestion here. You got 3,000 shares of Cleanspark, $12.50. 1,000 IREN shares at $9.32, 5,500 Bitfarms at $2, 1,000 Cypher shares at $4, 300 Mara shares at $18.50, still in red in most, although only 10% on average. Okay, so that's not too bad. You're not too far away from where you were. I would say dollar cost average in if you can on these guys here, and just be patient. I think they will start to run here in the next 6 months. But we need Bitcoin to go up. We need these deals to get kind of happen with Core and CoreWeave. Get things repriced for some of these guys here, but for the most part, you have a pretty good number of shares there, so you should do pretty well. Ray J says, don't forget NBIS. It's the next CoreWeave, long IREN cipher. Nice. B2 question: given the estimates showing how short we are in power infrastructure for AI, will mining be able to compete for the limited resources, or will most miners be transitioned to HPCI? Again, it depends on several factors, right? So it depends on location. Where is this site located? How far is it away from metropolitan areas? Things like that. Does it have access to fiber? Does it have access to redundant fiber? That's another thing. So there's a lot of things that go into it, right? How much acreage do you have? Also depends on what can you build out on that site, even though if you have 200 megawatts to use, but you're on like a 5 or 10 acre site, you probably can't build out a huge data center farm there. So it all depends on those things. So I don't think everybody will eventually transition over to HPCI. I also believe that the Moore's Law, with anything else, like Bitcoin mining itself, you're seeing more and more efficient miners. You're seeing, obviously, computers getting more and more efficient. You're going to see GPUs continue to get more efficient as time progresses. So eventually, I think there's going to be a certain point where we reach, and we'll slow down in the growth of the megawatts needed for HPCI as well at that point. Okay, let's see. Benny says Bitfarms also has a lot of power megawatts too. No, Ben always talks about it. They do. Their two best sites are in Pennsylvania, though. Those are, correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm going off memory. I think those are like either 150 or 250 megawatts combined or something like that. But they can increase that through build out and things like that, I believe. So they do. But yeah, I don't know about the other sites, whether those have any potential for HPCI possibilities. Okay. How much power is CORZ HPC? It's 500, it's a little bit more than 500 megawatts for just the HPC side of things. Then you also have the ancillary power. I think total they're using up like 700 some megawatts right now. Let's see. Daryl Gardner says, question, I need to sell some shares to pay taxes, Mara or Riot? Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, Mara hasn't been doing pretty well. Hasn't been doing well recently as far as appreciation is going. Riot has been doing a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. Flip a coin on that one. All right. Is Midwest Picker here? Is it better to buy strategy or Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin, actually. I know strategy sometimes can front run Bitcoin and get up much higher. It's been kind of lackadaisical here recently as far as the price appreciation has been concerned. So I don't know. We're seeing that some of the other guys like Metaplanet, Strategy, or similar industries are getting more of a premium than strategies. So I don't know. if they're going to continue to get that great premium there. All right. MKAK asks, I'm late to the party. What's up with CORZ? Potentially, there is some rumors swirling around that CoreWeave is in talks with CORZ to buy them out, basically. We just don't know when or for how much. So that's kind of what we're seeing here today. All right. Did you see CEO Tabar from BitDigital buy 750,000 of shares of BitDigital today? I did. I think he bought it because the stock went down 15%. Yeah, I did see that. I think he's trying to reinstill some confidence there, maybe. All right. Bevneet, I have good feeling about Bitfarms. Any positive news can make them jump 30-40% easy from current price. Yeah, I keep saying this all the time as well. All it takes is a positive news story on some of these guys or a good development on something, and they pop and run like crazy. So anything's possible with this. All right. So question. So IREN has way more power than CORZ does. Yes, IREN has. You got Corsicana, which is what 600 megawatts, I think. I can't remember exactly, or is that also a gigawatt site? They got that. They also have the 2 gigawatts through Clearwater, and they also have some other smaller sites that are in Canada. But I think they have also pipeline for more megawatts on top of that. Core Scientific, I believe, has a little over 1 gigawatt of combined power for all the locations that they have, where they also are mining Bitcoin and things like that. I'm not exactly sure what the total is, though. Okay, talked about that. Batu, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Sometimes I wonder why we are still in miners and not in treasury. Now I can't chase those, and it's hurting to hold miners. Miners, I think, are going to do very well here going forward. I mean, you got different plays. You got pure play Bitcoin miners. You got miners that are Bitcoin miners and HBCI plays as well. Marcus says, strategy is just buying Bitcoin, so just buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I would agree there. All right, John's got a question here. Seb, Seb, would you start a position in Cypher to diversify holding IREN and Cleanspark? If not Cypher, who would you pick? BBI is killing it. Nice. I would, yeah. I mean, I don't see any reason why not to get Cypher. Cypher could get a nice deal here. There's definitely quite a few people that are bullish on Cypher as well. Quite many, actually. So, yeah, I don't see why not. All right. What is your view on CAN? Seems very undervalued. Yeah, that one has not been performing well at all recently. In the last 2 years, I would say. Even when Bitcoin's going up, that thing has been lagging behind Bitcoin. And I don't follow it too closely, so I would say, based on just what I've seen, I wouldn't get into it. If you're into it, that's going to be your call as far as what to make. B82, thank you so much for the thumbs up. Sour Melon, MicroStrategy is performing like poop. It has, after it got to $530, right? I told you guys back then that it's getting overheated. It has come down. It did came down. It's been holding down here. Let's see. Hello, Seb. Could you please share your thoughts on BitDeer? Yeah. So I had some questions about BitDeer for a long time that, was kind of hard to get answers from. Not only, so here's the things that I found that were kind of annoying. Number one was when they first started reporting their numbers and financial results, they were one way. Then later on, that changed. So that was annoying. The other thing was that they were showing really, really high profit margins, net profit margin, gross, was it gross? I can't remember. But really high profit margins on like hosting, some of the other business segments that they had, which seemed really high compared to what we're seeing with some of the other miners that were, in hosting, where the other miners were lucky to get 10-15% margins. These guys were getting like plus 50%. So that was a little questionable to me. And them being in Singapore, possibly having ties with some Chinese companies and things like that, that was kind of questionable to me also. And then just the changes in reporting things, that kind of drove me nuts a little bit. They did it one way one time and then they changed it around. So consistency was it wasn't never consistent, I guess you could say. Now, was that for a reason? I don't know, right? Was it to hide something? I don't know. But for the most part, if I see something like that, I don't get into a company because of those things. And then also anything that has to do with China or something like that, I usually just stay away from it because that's just me, right? So those are the types of things. But they've been doing really good here recently. Stock has been doing much better, right? It's down from where it was, but it's doing better. And, they have, I think, more potential going forward here. They got the HPCI potential in Ohio. They have the seal miners coming out as well. Those looking pretty good here. We'll see how much they sell of those. Their growth in hash rate is going to be also increasing here this year and next year as well. So I like seeing those types of things. So I think on the operations side of things, I think they're doing better. But I would just like to see the behind the scenes things do be better also, right? Okay, let's see, talk about that. And also, if we are still live, would you invest in Bitcoin miners next cycle knowing what things are getting difficult in the near future? I mean, that's the thing. Are we going to have a next cycle? Could the cycle be just continued going forward, right? It might be totally different where we might want to buy the tops and buy the bottoms and sell the tops, because we're seeing obviously they're acting like major proxies to Bitcoin, but in the downward side and the upward side as well when it does happen. So it could be a good way to trade them possibly instead of trying and buy the bottoms on these things and hold on to them until they go to the top. It could be just a different way of playing it. Let's see, talking about that. Sour, what do you think IREN will get repriced to? Well, I think it should be higher than where it's at right now. I think it should be closer to like 15, 20 bucks, if not higher than at that point. And then if they get a nice deal also with somebody, they could go up even higher than there. What is happening with Bitfarms? Right now, Bitfarms is getting sold. Well, Riot's selling their shares, so that's keeping the stock down. That's not helping them right now, and they're trying to get something going for the HPCI deal. We'll see. All right. S8 says an analyst from Roth Capital mentioned that CoreWeave could potentially pay up to $38 per share in an all-stock deal for Core Scientific, about $11 billion valuation. Wow, okay, that would be really, really good. We'll see if that happens. Dave's got a question as well here. When will Bitfarms reverse split? That we don't know. Ben historically has said that they are now looking to do a reverse split because they know what it usually means. Reverse split usually means that investors lose interest in you and you're going to be diluting probably more even later on. So that's one of the reasons why you don't want to do it. One of the reasons you do want to do it is if the stock is trading under $1 on NASDAQ for over 200 some odd days, whatever it is. I think it's 180 days originally, then you can extend it out for another 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is after that. So it might be a while before they do that. All right. Question here from Denny. Hi, Seb. Do you ever look at Applied Digital? Yeah, I look at them. Talked about them probably a couple months ago. Probably should talk about them a little bit more here. But they also got a great deal with CoreWeave to build out as well for the megawatts that they have there. And that's at their, what's that site called? I'm trying to blank on it right now. But you guys know which one I'm talking about. All right, cut up to all you guys' questions. It was a great day today with miners. Everything else, things are getting repriced. It might be a couple more days, weeks while that is taking place here. So be patient as always. Things are going to get better for us, I think. They should get better for us. So just be patient out there. And yeah, we'll cover whatever happens tomorrow with the miners as well and anything else. We'll go over it. We'll see where the miners go tomorrow, how much of a repricing we get tomorrow. We could see some possible profit taken, maybe. That's usually what happens, but we'll see. All right, love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. And tomorrow is Friday. Wow, this week is going by fast. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.